Welcome back after that short break. Let's now listen to our speakers as they take us through their journey on SDG 13. Let us begin with the session, The Role of Education in Propelling Climate Action by Ms Abhilasha Singh. Ms Abhilasha Singh is working as principal in Shining Star International School, Abu Dhabi, an Indian curriculum school in UAE. She is an MIE expert, cohort 2020-21, selected by Microsoft Education. She is also the UAE ambassador and lead facilitator for the Climate Action Project 2020. As a head of the institution, she drives change and sets a growth mindset among staff and students through a visionary plan. Teaching about sustainable development goals is very close to her heart, and she considers Global Goals Agenda 2030 to be a collective responsibility of all individuals. Thank you for joining us today, Ms. Abhilasha. Over to you for your session, The Role of Education in Propelling Climate Action.
Thank you so much, Aparna. And firstly, it is my honor and my proud privilege to be speaking at this big summit. And I am very impressed hearing our chief guest, Mr. Nirbhay Lumle, and before that, the opening speaker, Mr. Shalin Shah, showing such strong commitment to the SDGs and Agenda 2030. And again, very impressed with Dr. Kusum Kanwar's message also from the academic perspective. And me too, I'm here to talk about SDG 13 from an educationist perspective, from a school leader's perspective. So I'm going to be speaking about Climate Action Project 2021 and what Climate Action Project is and the importance of having a climate curriculum in school. I am a Climate Action Project ambassador for UAE with Take Action Global. And like the speakers before me have spoken about the importance of climate action education and action towards Agenda 2030, especially towards goal number 13. So please take down the links that I'm sharing over here. Later on, I could also share it in the chat box. This is information for all the educators who are with us today to sign up for the project and also look at resources from the website on what is available for you to share their lesson plans. There's a climate action curriculum. Taking this forward, in the words of Mr. Antonio Guterres, UN Secretary General, who said that I cannot emphasize enough that time is running out. Irreversible climate tipping points lie alarmingly close. Civil society is watching closely and is running out of patience. This is for all of us, for governments, for NGOs, especially for educators, leaders at school level, because we work with grassroots, and our children who are in KG in 10 years, 11 years time would be facing the world with Agenda 2030, planning to enter into the higher education field, some of them into the world of employment. And we speak to them about, and to the parents of KG students, that what is the world that they want to see, or what they want, where they want the children to be, and the world they want to adapt them into. And this is a worry because in 10 years' time, if we do not stop or we do not pause our anthropogenic interventions, the surface temperature, the global warming will continue to increase and would probably increase by 3%, which is going to be detrimental, 3 degrees Celsius, which will be detrimental to life on Earth. And to limit the global warming to 1.5 degrees C, as called for in Paris Agreement, greenhouse gas emission must begin falling by 7.6% each year, starting in 2020. And we need statistics where we are now, and it is quite a worrisome state. And the government panel on climate change has declared a code red for planet Earth. It said in its recent report that we have 0 years to save the world, to save the Earth, and that is what the situation is at the moment. So IPCC declares a code red for planet Earth, and has said that there are 0 years for us to save the world, to save planet Earth. And therefore, climate action, why it matters? It matters because we need to understand how it affects humanity and how it affects the world. And if climate change is climate change is not controlled, then we will continue to have temperature rise. There will be frost-free seasons, which will be detrimental to uh, to temp- to the farmers farming. There is also going to be change in the rain pattern, precipitation patterns. There are going to be more droughts and heat waves. Hurricanes will become stronger and more intense, and sea levels will rise by 1 to 8 feet by 21. I'm sorry for my pets. Uh, and Arctic will likely to become ice free. The last 1 decade has been recorded as being the warmest decade, and we've seen the wildfires in many parts of the world and how damaging that has been to habitat destruction of animals, and at the same time detrimental to the flora on Earth. Therefore, if we don't take urgent action now, the damaging effect of climate change are going to be the impact are going to be seen for years to come. And like one Native American saying that we do not inherit this earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. And therefore it is a responsibility that, this is echoing thought that we've heard it many times before, that we need to keep this planet safe for our children, and especially like the intergeneration responsibility, that we must pass on this information from one generation to the other. And it's very important that we have these conversations in schools and within school communities, and have an outreach program to the communities outside the school boundaries. And therefore, to understand that what would happen if we don't take action. If we don't take action, the global temperatures will continue to rise. And if there is a global temperature increase above 300 degrees C, then we know that it is going to adversely affect our ecosystem. There's going to be food and water scarcity. So how can we solve this problem? Or is it too late to act? It is not too late to act. Each one of us has this responsibility. And whenever, when we say that, as we become aware, that very day it starts. And how are people affected by climate change? I'd like to show you one infographic over here. And this is the social and economic impact. And the other day I was talking to children in the school about the emotional impact of climate change, that when people have to leave their houses, especially with the submergence of low-lying coastal areas, and how people have to leave their homes and their memories and their ancestry behind to go to be as an immigrant to another place, and as a displaced person to another locality. This has a long psychological impact on the people. At the same time, there is also social and, of course, the social and economic impact, which is very visible. So the cost of adapting coastal areas to the rising sea levels, relocation of the whole towns, shrinking productivity and harvest, prices of basic foodstuffs and consumer goods, which will go up because there's going to be food insecurity, and extreme meteorological phenomena which will cause widespread poverty, right from forest fires to drought, and disease which will spread due to a higher temperature. There's going to be an increase in pests, and that again is going to lead to adversely affect food and lead to food insecurity. There's going to be paucity of fresh water and also short supply, which will again lead to civil unrest. And we've also, this is something that we do, the conversations that we have in the school about knowing that the Third World War, possibility of the Third World War, is going to be a water wars, and there's going to be wars to control freshwater resources, and there's going to be loss of the capacity in work because of heat. So all this is going to have big revenue damage on the economies and will affect economies of the world. So what can we do to help? It's very simple. My presentation is very simple from a school educator's point of view. I haven't brought in a lot of statistics where I've seen some, I was very impressed with Mr. Shaline's presentation. So my presentation is very simple with some very simple steps that we can take to mitigate climate change. And these are some 10 simple steps, and then I'm going to talk about the climate action. So we all know this. This is, again, I'm talking to you as a school educator, as a teacher, because these are things that we need to remind ourselves. Take a 5-minute shower rather than having a very luxurious bath in the washroom. Take your own coffee mug. I know it's very smart, and it's like quite fashionable to carry your Tim Horton mug or your coffee from Starbucks, but then small simple actions about like as carrying your own reusable coffee mug, eating a plant-based meal. It's very important that we become vegetarians. I mean, it is not just about your religious following, but actually for the planet. If we make earth our religion, then becoming a vegetarian is the good choice. Like Menka Gandhi once said, "Acha hai." Bring your own bag. Take your own grocery bags for shopping. Our children in school have been advised, and they make sure that the parents do not step out of the house for grocery shopping without carrying their own bag. The idea is to say no to plastic, to bring no plastic home, and turn off the lights when they're leaving the room. Recycle plastic waste. Drive less, walk more, and try a zero waste fashion. That means if we really, really, really believe in the cause are calling as SDGs, we really need to have simple living, high thinking. We need to go back to the Gandhian ways and have less is more. Upcycle, exchange. We have this in our school. Have an upcycle fair where, say, one family wants to buy a juicer, and other family has already a juicer, an extra juicer. So buying a new one, instead of buying a new one, there's a barter system where you can bring in that device to school, or in that sort of a fair you can display, and anybody wants to pick up for a very minimal cost can pick up the things that has been on their wish list. So this way, swapping with a friend, swapping with colleagues really helps to minimize waste, and also gives you a way of living sustainable lives. And unplug your appliances, buy local. These are specially related to UAE, where our children are, and live with the problem of plenty. It's very important that we talk to our children about making them aware about the difference between the haves and the have-nots, and not to take things for granted, and also fulfill their responsibility as global citizens. So again and again, having conversations with the children, with your students in the school, like we all, I'm sure all the principals do, but then to make it more concrete, sign up for the Climate Action Project. This happens every year in September. This year it was launched on 27th of September. Climate Action Project is an initiative of Take Action Global, founded by Koen Timmers and Dr. Jennifer Williams. It is a US, Dr. Koen belongs to Belgium, and Dr. Jennifer belongs to USA. And both of them together have founded Take Action Global, which initiates Climate Action Project in the month of September, and the Goals Project in the month of January. It is a 6-week design thinking project where the students of the school, along with the teachers, ideate to find solutions and use innovations and innovative methods, or innovative prototypes to check how climate change can be reversed. So we have had students from around the world making solar suitcases to charge up batteries in school. Also, a biodegradable plastic using vinegar and milk, and also many examples of students coming forward, thinking about how the world can be saved, and their contributions. Like we have Ines from South Africa, whose student has made these firelighters for barbecue with waste paper in the school. And in my school, the children used to make, collecting all the waste paper, they would make handmade paper as a school project, and with the Change Starts With You project initiative. So do look up climate action info. There is a climate action curriculum that has been prepared and is on the website. And this is how it looks like. There's the curriculum, and there is an app, the Earth Project app, which helps you to track your carbon footprint. It requires you to pledge reducing your carbon footprint by taking certain challenges, you are able to calculate the removal of carbon from the environment, and it actually it really works because it gives you the motivation to contribute towards reducing the carbon footprint from in the world. And you can do this with your school. As collectively, you could sign up. You can also have a partnership with another school. Together as a collaborative project, you could track your carbon footprint and reduce wastage, and also rethink how you avoid plastic. And then, of course, we have the Climate Action Day on this year on the 4th of November. We have presentations, and Climate Action has endorsements from some very famous leaders around the world. Pope, for one, His Highness has His Excellency endorses the project. We have Queen Elizabeth, Prince Williams through the Earthshot Prize, which is centered and anchored in climate action. And similarly, we have Her Highness Princess Esmeralda from Belgium, and the UN Under Secretary General Ms. Melissa Fleming, who also is part of the Climate Action Project. So this way, on the 4th of November, on the Climate Action Day, we will see the speakers, a lineup of speakers who will be talking about the importance of climate action, and also students' presentations who are selected from the 6 weeks of ideation that the students are taking part in.
Sorry to interrupt, Ms. Abhilasha.
I'm about to finish. Just last 2 slides. So, if you would like to, you can scan the QR codes of some of my students' work on climate action, which we have been doing for the last since 2019. And thank you.
Thank you so much for that very interesting and informative session. As we say, journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So small steps do matter towards creating a huge change, right? Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Aparna. I realize that my presentation is very simple. I wanted to keep it very simple in terms of wanted to speak particularly about climate action project, because here is something that at grassroots level, the schools could be involved with their students and contribute to what their responsibility is towards Agenda 2030. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Next